But inflation is taking its toll, and some drivers, like Joe Pano, can't afford to compete anymore.
This is my 7th year this year. I started in the super modifieds right here at Oswego.
And why you decide to sell the car?
Well, the cost of racing, I think, has just skyrocketed. Since I got in, I'm sure it's more than doubled. I just can't afford to do it anymore on a single job on what I make.
Super modified racing has always been about as close to Indianapolis-type competition as you could get. In fact, many drivers have gone from the Oswego Speedway to Indy. But this was the place where amateur drivers could experiment with engine modifications and new body types, each designed to make the car go faster. And that's part of the problem.
The more you pay, the faster the parts could help you go.
Howard Conkey has been building race cars for 10 years. He knows all too well the drastic impact the economy is having on his sport. Engines today cost anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000. A good oil system, $1,200. Tires, $150 each. If I were to come in here today and tell you I wanted to take up racing, how much would it cost me to build a car?
A top competitive car, by the time you had the motor and a complete set of everything, one of everything, it'd cost you at least $20,000 to get to the track.
And what about maintenance?
It'd be a minimum, I would say, on a top car of $300 a week. Tires, fuel, spark plugs, various odds and ends.
Most people cannot afford to compete for first place. Now, this is a very discouraging way for a lot of people to race.
When it comes to super modified racing, no one's better than Jimmy Champagne. But Jimmy was lucky. He took up the sport when equipment was cheap.
A lot of young guys starting out cannot afford to buy the equipment. They can't even afford 5 years from now to buy the equipment to compete for first place.
That fact concerns Steve Joya. He's president of the International Super Modified Racing Association.
I would say racing parts, and the average, just about every part on the car has increased 35 to 50% in the past 2 years.
And how much of the purse has gone up?
The purses have increased probably 5 to 10%, really. So there's just no way that the owners now can keep up with the rising costs.
One of the things a driver can do to make ends meet is to get a sponsor. Dennis Wheeler has been racing for 12 years. Until recently, he prided himself on being an independent driver, someone who paid his own way. But rising costs have forced a change.
If you don't have a sponsor, you just can't make it. I mean, you may be able to run a tail end someplace, but really to get up and run with the front runners, you've got to have somebody else putting a little money with you.
Because of the economy, drivers are under pressure to win almost every time out, a difficult thing to do. And that stress is being felt by both the drivers and their pit crews.
By knowing that it takes money to keep this car going each week, and takes a lot of money, that they have to just extend more time and more effort, and like I say, just plain more pressure on you to see that the car is in tip-top shape.
Realizing they had to hold the line on costs, officials at the Oswego Speedway have come up with some new rules. Expensive aluminum wheels have been outlawed. Mag wheels must be gone by the end of this year. Drivers will just have to use the heavier but cheaper steel wheels. There's also a weight rule. As of this year, all cars must weigh at least 1,800 pounds. A restriction track spokesman George Caruso thinks will keep drivers from spending dollars to save ounces.
You build a lighter car, you got a big motor, you're going to get around the track faster. So what the general emphasis has been in the last few years is to build a lighter and lighter car. Several years ago, we had a car come up here that was made partially of titanium metal. Titanium is very expensive and very light. And we felt that before we got involved with something like this, we would put a weight limit on them to alleviate this problem. Safety-wise, if everyone has to build an 1,800-pound car, nobody is going to leave out tubing or supports that could save their life in an accident.
The most controversial new rule at Oswego bans the rear-engine car, a new type of racer introduced by Jimmy Champagne last year. The track says the rule is designed to save drivers a lot of money by keeping today's cars competitive. Jimmy Champagne disagrees.
They talk safety-wise, they talk expense-wise, but really the Roadster cost every bit as much to build as a rear-engine car. So I don't really think that they achieved what they set out to do. Basically, right now we have a nucleus of 40 to 50 cars, and if we felt that we lost 10 of those cars due to just a person just giving up, saying psychologically he can't build a rear engine car, or he can't compete, or he can't afford to build one, if we lost 10 cars, we felt that we'd probably lose the division.
I achieved something with a rear engine car that hadn't been done before, and it's very discouraging to have them just say, okay, it worked fine, but because it worked so good, we're going to disallow it.
To a certain extent, he is being penalized. We do feel sorry for the fact that we had to do this, but we feel at the time it is important to keep the class as a whole together.
Program here!
Many drivers feel the promoters could do more for them, but track officials say they've already increased the purses and can't afford to give away any more. So it looks like any immediate relief will come from drastic rule changes, like limiting engine size. Without some type of shot in the arm, the future of supermodified racing may be in serious jeopardy.
I think a guy starting out now, if he doesn't have a big backer, could never make it to the front. And if he can't, he's going to get discouraged, he's going to drop out, and as soon as he drops out, then you're not going to have the up-and-coming stars coming along, and you're going to have a limited number of cars. Once your cars drop off, your fans drop off, the track has less money, you know, it snowballs.